Y'all already know what it is. Y'all already know what it is. Time out is Kelsito, the spirit coach, getting you in shape or form for the age of Aquarius yet again. Yet again, shit, was having some nice dinner. Nice little oats. You know what I'm saying? Nice little oats, little turkey bacon. We want to talk about a matter at hand and things because for the most part, us as humans, there we emulate certain aspects of life in general, like all the way down from animals to motherfucking plants and so forth. We can learn a lot about how to take care of ourselves when it comes to dealing with like plants and learning how they need to be cared for, or you know you can provide a sense of care to a certain thing or inanimate object and shit like that, you know? So, you know, um, when it comes to plants and shit, it's about, because we all plant seeds, right? And things. And we plant seeds in a spirit realm, which would be an internal realm, crafting seeds, coming up with a seed that will be an idea, and we put in it in our internal realm. Well, that's where we spark it, and that will be like our soil. Now, in that world, beyond the physical world, we all connected and shit. You know what I'm saying? So we all gang in that world. We all gang in that world. We all connected up. So everybody. And this is why, you know, we have different aspects of things like, just knowing may have a person may feel behind the scenes, or, you know, picking up on certain nuances where you may not even know the actual external, the external thing probably hasn't been revealed to you yet, but yet there's like some system of network, and you can go like, man, is a motherfucker like hating on me right now? Like you can kind of pick up on that. So this is like the spirit realm and shit like that. Don't let nobody make y'all get into spookism and shit like that. These people are retarded and shit like that. Just like plants and shit like that, we the same. So just like you have an internal network and shit like that, plants got that too. It's called motherfucking soil, and they communicate with each other and different things, and based upon the environment they gonna grow a certain way and shit, based upon how it's connected and how it's communicating to each other and shit like that. And what we call that motherfucking roots. So there's no plants growing without proper root care. You feel me? So you gotta be like that. That's in nature. You know what I'm saying? So the root represent the root information or what started it. You know what I'm saying? So it can always connect to that first seed and shit like that. Other than that, when we doing things that's out of order and shit, you know what I'm saying? Trying to do artificial gardens and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? These is the things that it's like keep you a little bit retarded and stuff like that. Talking about this is the thing to keep you a little retarded and things. But there's no tree growing without proper root care. All the way down to the compost of it. You know what I'm saying? It needs nitrogen, which is just, you know what I'm saying, a piece of the atmosphere, allowing the atmosphere in our atmosphere that was getting produced to flow through the soil and shit like that, and it being able to communicate with the atmosphere and shit like that, and not be too restricted. Other than that, your plants are going to be the roots are gonna be stressed and shit. And when you got stressed out roots and shit like that, the plants don't grow. So it can't be too much water in your soil and shit like that. So just look at that like as having. I'm busy right now, baby. I'm busy right now. I'm gonna lie. Okay, yeah, I got you. I got you. Give me a second. Um, so when you got too much water, you know what I'm saying? Peach is good. When you got too much water in your soil and shit like that, it causes too much stress to the root. So the roots shrink and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And your plant it eventually stress itself out in the roots and it turn yellow and shit. And it begins to die off and shit. You know, now when it's lightly, you know what I'm saying, it's nice and fitted and it got enough room to breathe, you know what I'm saying, the plant is going to have enough oxygen and communication with the atmosphere to actually grow and shit like that. So just look at that water as like having too much emotion and shit like that. When you don't have enough sunlight and shit like that, or enough connection with the atmosphere, you know what I'm saying, enough connection with, you know, and then all the way down to y'all motherfucking ideas, y'all motherfucking ideas that y'all want to see grow. You can always just look at how a plant do and shit like that and see how things are properly growing. You know what I'm saying? Is it when you got too much emotional stress on you, you can't even get the work done. You know what I'm saying? That idea grow and shit like that. It's too much emotion, you end up everywhere and shit like that. So that's too much water. You know what I'm saying? Too much compact without or getting water is too dry. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna really survive. It's gonna cause the root to be stressed out and shit like that. You know, if the soil is 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 light enough, and you know it can communicate and do the cycle with us with the sun and shit like that, and that seed to grow properly. So even so, always look at the sun as like, you know, you shining light on your idea and things of that nature. And but you always communicating with the root. You know what I'm saying? And the root is the most important part and shit like that because it communicates back to, you know, the precious beginnings and shit. So even motherfuckers think they getting away with some shit like that. They always gonna have to deal with the root. You ain't finna grow no tree and shit like that unless it's finna be synthetic. You know, that there's no idea or nothing like that. Unless it's gonna be synthetic, you ain't giving no motherfucking air to the root. You know what I'm saying? You ain't letting that communication happen between the root and the motherfucking seed, or you ain't motherfucking. You know what I'm saying? You gotta water it, all of that shit. Water it. You know what I'm saying? Make sure it's getting enough sun and shit. AKA, if it ain't got enough sun, it got too much water and shit. Have you expressed that idea? Have you shown that idea? Have you gave that idea? Have you acted on that idea? And this is a good way too, a good segue into what we into right now, as far as the energies of Leo season. So Leo, you right now, and what we're in with Leo season, or shit, aka Salmon season, is basically you're gonna be conscious or lost about your actions right now. So the thing is, or conscious or lost about what you're acting on. So right now, what does it mean to be conscious? It's not. So this is what it means to be conscious. This is less conscious. You less consciously aware. Okay, now you're more consciously of shit, aware of shit around me. So just take that and put that in your mind of what. That's what the sun brings. It brings more light. So it's gonna bring more light to what you acting on, and depending on what you acting on and things, you want to make sure these things are things that you are aware that you acting on and shit like that, and you know what you're utilizing your expression towards and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So you consciously aware what you're doing. Now we came from Cancer season, where for the most part we went through internal expansion too. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing how about more about the internal world and learning that from our vantage point and our standpoint. And now, you know what I'm saying, based upon what we gained emotionally, it's time to put that into action and shit like that. So we already kind of gained emotional intelligence about the things that was going on and shit like that. And now it's time to, you know, basically act on those things and express those things and put those things out. You know what I'm saying? So you're supposed to be conscious of what you're acting on as far as right now in your motherfucking vision and shit like that. But so, you know, the summer bring that father mother energy and shit with that Cancer season and whatnot. But you know, this is important. So you can't ain't no tree growing without the root. Ain't no tree growing without root care, proper root care. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be taking. And so just take this in all of your life. Live life work natural. You know what I'm saying? Life work with nature and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Now anything that humans made up to get far, to make it seem like they doing something, is they are just going to hell. They're going to hell. AKA they might the getting away with they're trying to get away with. It may be good for that moment and shit, but they gonna realize they just did a whole bunch of nothing for a long time just to end up back right where you started. Just like a Kanye West or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. You know what I'm saying? So you went and did about 80 jumping jacks. You know what I'm saying? Across white man stage and shit, and yet, you know what I'm saying, you still can't free your people, or still don't need your high note, like, or still getting played psyops on by white boys, and letting them ruin your career and stuff like that. So you there for nothing and stuff, because you're well controlled. You're about to lose it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put them in a whole little situation. They put them in a whole little situation. They put them in a whole little. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pick up on the little nuances and shit, but they put broski in a whole little situation, man. Fungs is the network used in the nature to connect. Drowning in the roots. Alright, worship the integration. Why you got Jesus in your name now? That's like psyop. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. But yeah, but yeah, you gotta be with the roots too. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get a root proper care. So you gotta have proper, you know what I'm saying? You gotta talk about grandma and talk about grandpa and the roots and where they came from. You feel me? For your tree to grow. You know, it need emotional connection. You know, it need a little bit of situation from the sun. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of little light, little information and things of that nature. And then it need a little bit of motherfucking stability too. So these are all things that your plant need to grow. You know what I'm saying? Sufficiently and stuff like that. And so don't be trying to be take from nothing and shit like that and try to grow that seed and synthetically and stuff without being a part of it sufficiently the right way. You know what I mean? You'll have it sufficiently the right way. You can go on about your business. Mm-hmm. 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 A little peach oatmeal. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to know. You're gonna have to know. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the things that your motherfucking shit need to grow sufficiently, okay? Always remember that. Always remember that. When growing your seed, you need your fire, you need your water, you need your air, and you need your motherfucking earth. This is just basic science. It's not fucking rocket science. It's something simple. You know what I'm saying? So you can know, and this is really for like all of my people that's connected with me and shit like that. Know how I be coming, because I understand there'll be a lot of retards and shit like that that just be wasting their time on my page that ain't got no business on my page and stuff like that. So you ain't gotta be a retard on my page and stuff. The people I be, the people that know how I rock and stuff like that. That's what I'm more so focusing on. I ain't focusing on you motherfucking people that deserve to get left out no more. We moving forward, okay? And understand that. Understand that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so for the most part, it's Leo season, so you need to be active. You need to activate. You know what I'm saying? This is fire energy. This is fixed fire. So this ability to be fixated on your own way of seeing and feeling, and this is more so entertaining what your expression. So creating the stage or knowing the stage that your expression is in. So that and that shows, spirit, you're more consciously aware of what you're doing. And when you look like that way in the spirit realm to the elders and shit like that in the spiritual realm, you get more handed to you and shit like that, and they see you more fit and things for that task and whatnot. So like I said, even to that nature, when we talk about spiritual realm and shit like that, you can just look at that as the dirt root system, and it communicating with the process of the nature of how it needs to grow in order for it to be sufficient in life type shit. You get what I'm saying? So we all connected spiritually, as well and shit. We just use words to describe a lot of this shit that's going on, but a lot of this shit be simple. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this shit ain't um, rocket science. You know what I'm saying? I'm just bringing my own unique way of doing that and shit like that, because you gonna understand me. I don't want you to understand. I'm not. Why would I get up here and talk like white boy and stuff like that? No, I want you to understand me, not white boy. You know what I'm saying? I don't even interpret for white boy and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. Like, why would I get on here and talk like somebody else? Oh, we gonna talk how I talk and shit like that. You catch on to the lingo. You're learning from me. Bitch, I'm Native American. Last time I checked, you're learning from me and my motherfucking people and our ways and our ancestors. Y'all know shit about this shit. You know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. You can't catch on. Kiss my left ass cheek. But other than that, you know what I'm saying, we gonna get back good and stuff like that. So knowing this is your seed, so your seed is for your idea and things of that nature. And that seed, obviously we only formulate seeds based upon um, the overall producing, our ability to do that. And we all have similar ideas, just like it's similar seeds that get planted throughout the year and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So we all just trying to grow some business, security, stability, safety, shelter type shit. You know what I'm saying? Protecting our internal world, utilizing things from the external world and shit like that, all the way down to having a body to be able to experience your emotions on an internal level and shit like that, and then the outside world. And so, that needs to be interconnected, that needs to be intertwined. So your whole system got to be running sufficiently, you know what I'm saying, as a being and as a vessel. And as we operate, and we got to give our seed, air, water, and shit like that, thoughts, feelings, light, aka action, and shit like that. Also, at time, rest, darkness, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that. So it's just about knowing the cycles, and then We do it with the elements too. You know what I'm saying? You either giving it some type of emotion. You know what I'm saying? That's why they say even talk to your plants, air, you know, um, earth stability, somewhere where to grow and be stable and shit like that. And you making sure you can use all of these elements, even when it comes to astrology, towards whatever seed, you know what I'm saying, you taking care of for yourself and shit like that. But not to understanding when it's too much water, and too much water will essentially start to attract too much um, bacteria and shit like that, which grows shit in the motherfucking soil and shit like that. So it don't you don't need too much connections, too much motherfuckers in your shit that don't really care about it. It's just too flimsy. It's too chaotic. You know what I'm saying? Too much motherfucking shit around your seed. You know what I'm saying? You want to kick them motherfuckers to the curb. And then so you need to evaporate some of that water, you know what I'm saying? AKA give it a little bit more sunlight, you know what I'm saying? Show you a little bit more individuality, show your ass a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And then that can create some shit where now, you know, it's your soil is a little bit more, it don't got as much stress, whatever, even down into not enough water. That's you being too restricted or something, you know what I'm saying, or you being too stuck in things, you know what I'm saying. And all you need to it need to be your seed and the roots of it need to be a little bit more flexible and shit like that. I need to be a little bit more flexible and shit. If it's too dry, it ain't gonna have nothing to feed off of. So yeah, you need to have your idea be connected with other individuals. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be just too to yourself, too stuck up. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how weird your seed is, your individual idea, your plan is. Motherfucker, put that shit out there. Connect it with others. Okay, that's you watering your motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Your motherfucking plant. And then going forward, you know, so yeah, you want to make sure you got good soil. Good soil and knowing how to take care of your spiritual soil and things. And this is planning with the motherfucking coach. You know what I'm saying? So get your motherfucking soil right. You know what I'm saying? And take care of the motherfucking roots. And them roots is also connected to your home. You know what I'm saying? Where you come from. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the root is. It lead back to the original idea and shit like that. It lead back to the original point of starting this. And the original point of starting this to grow is to be able to, you know, so our tree represent our body, right? Because we got different aspects of the body, like the good parts of it. We got parts that's positive. We got parts that's, I wouldn't say negative, but more for the most part, that's how they look at the 7th through the 12th house, which would be our feminine natures and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That the ones that keep us in our fucking sleeping, eating energies and shit like that. And then we got our more masculine chakras and shit like that, which would be the 7th through the 1st, and those houses and shit like that on a medicine wheel. So you got that shit. These things are playing out as different wavelengths, different different densities and different angles of being and what we created and shit like that. But they all have different natures about them. And so some of them natures are correlated to our higher natures, and some of our higher natures can take us out of our lower natures and shit like that, as well as the lower natures can take down to take your higher natures down to your lower natures, all the way to kind of creating the child and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be mindful of your creation as well. You know what I'm saying? With all of that. So, you know, it ain't really um, nothing to do to it, but to do it when it comes to, you know, managing, you know, your seed and things and connecting to your seed, which would be your idea that's going to grow as a plant or tree that you can start producing fruit off of and shit. And once you start doing that, you know, knowing how to take care of your seeds and shit like that, you know, you start to be, you start to learn life differently. You know what I'm saying? AKA, and then learn how you are connected all the way down to you. And oh, that's what I was saying. Like you're the roots, and how you're connected as a sentient being from the root of this being a part of this shit too. That's why you kind of mimic a plant and shit like that, because that's what I was saying. Your body mimic like a tree or something like that, because your body have different parts of it where it's um it communicates as such and shit like that. You grow hair and shit like that. You know, you got positive parts of your um body. Your body release fluids and shit like that. You know, so this ain't nothing, no spookism shit. You know what I'm saying? This is people trying to manipulate humanity and stop y'all to getting a look at these things and stuff like that and be up under their concept, and so y'all can rule and not tap into y'all power type shit. But this ain't no, this, I don't know what people think. But yeah, so you know, you want to always watch what you intaking. You know what I'm saying? Watch what you intaking. The water could be, we can say water hypothetically, right, for the soil, but water could be a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? It could be just too much heavy weight. You know what I'm saying? Like even overeating or having stress on your mind and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? What does that do? That stress out your veins and shit like that. Them like your motherfucking um, you know, your connectors and your communicators and shit like that. That carries the blood flow. You know, and you know, you too much into your internal world and shit like that. That's like you being too much into uh that's right. That's like too much water. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it playing out like too much water in your too much water. So it's, if you too much into your internal world, you know, you may feel stress, like you don't want to go out or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So it's metaphor how we understanding these life, our life and our connection to it. You know what I'm saying? With just different things that nature teach us that we can utilize on a daily to better know how to direct our life, and you know, knowing how to correlate these things uh, for better ways of living. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so that's really motherfucking it. You know what I'm saying? That's the motherfucking live. I appreciate everybody for coming out here. Y'all know they be playing with people numbers and stuff like that. Make them seem unorganic and stuff. But y'all know what it is. W's in the chat. W's in the chat. You know how we coming. You know what I'm saying? We ain't just up here just screaming on live and listening to other people music. No, we creating the music. You know what I'm saying? No, we creating the business. You feel me? We creating. We ain't just inviting the music industry on our shit. No, we creating the music industry. You know, we is the music industry. We ain't gotta get on the news. We is the news. We don't gotta get on the radio. We is the radio. We don't gotta do none of that. We don't gotta get on TV. It's YouTube TV now. You know what I'm saying? YouTube is TV now, so it's easy. You heard? You heard? But yeah, that's about it, man. So yeah, it's Kelsey, the spirit coach. Give you a shape of form for this age of Aquarius, you know what I'm saying? Get y'all ass.